Say here on the show, don't we? It's never wise to cross senior members of the British monarchy, particularly if that senior member is none other than the hardest working royal, the Princess Royal herself. That's right, Princess Anne. Now, many people who watch this channel, this show, know just what a fan I am of Anne. You know, she's beloved by the British public. She's very hardworking, doesn't look for publicity, basically just gets on with the job. So you can imagine how a silly remark, when you think about it, by the former royal known as Prince Harry, really cut through, particularly for her, in that recent docu-series. And as ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here. Nice to see you. I hope you're all keeping well. By the way, you know, a lot of people are asking me about gossip columns and stuff like that. Do I remember this? Because obviously, as you know, I love the old movie magazines. I was fascinated by the likes of Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons and many of the stars that I met, like Debbie Reynolds, Tony Curtis, Mickey Rooney. They all told me what a dragon Hedda Hopper was, because she was kind of a failed actress herself. So, didn't really like people who were successful. Now, what she did manage to do was shoehorn her son, Clifford Hopper, into a recurring role in a major TV series over in the United States. Does anybody remember the name of the series? Uh-huh. He was a regular, Clifford, on Perry Mason. Do you remember that show? Brilliant show, wasn't it? Still gets repeated somewhere around the world, no doubt, but nonetheless, he could possibly have thanked his very, shall we say, determined mother, the global gossip queen that was Hedda Hopper, for getting him in. Back as ever to your Breaking Royal story, though. This, as I say, centres on Princess Anne and the remark made recently by the former royal known as Prince Harry over about how, the press and the royals are in with the press and all that sort of stuff. I have to refute those claims, by the way. This story that he claimed, where we get invited to these particular parties and as if, we're nice to them, then they'll be nice to us. It's simply not like that. It's called respect and manners, You can't force a story. The royals know that if there's a negative story, it will be covered. They've seen that many times, not just over the years, over the centuries, haven't they? But it was this particular story that really hurt and upset, as one can imagine, the Princess Royal, because it was all about how it was seen as an accolade to see exactly how many, presses you could get by attending so many events, charitable and otherwise. Now, as we've told you before, the Princess Royal can do up to 6 events a day, thoroughly organised, packs her own lunch, packs her own outfits, doesn't have assistants with her. We saw recently, didn't we, travelling to New York, unaided, but apart from one person, a security person, but no big sort of hullabaloo and huff about it, just getting on with the job. Now, as we said, Prince Harry famously said in that documentary, it was seen as an accolade as to who could get the hardest working royal title at the end of the year. And he found this baffling because it was something, again, that the press were pitching against other senior royals. No, it's not. It's simply just calculating exactly who's done what and who's been busy. And perhaps somebody's had a bit of illness, like our late Queen did, so step back from royal duties. But Harry seemingly turned this into a negative against, of course, the hardest working royal once again this year and last year for the Princess Royal. The second being, of course, Harry's father, King Charles. It's just silly, isn't it? But you can understand how exactly Harry's burnt so many bridges with people around him that really have supported him and no doubt will require his support at some point when he decides to do whatever he does, if he returns back to the royal fold, or indeed if everything takes a turn for the worst for him. I wouldn't necessarily like to be in a room with Harry and the Princess Royal when that time comes. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.